Good evening, and so glad to have you back with me. Tonight, we step quietly into the intriguing life of Cleopatra. But first, before we begin, I'd love to know where you're joining us from. Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Curl up, get comfortable, and let's gently enter her world. You wake before the first light, when the air is still and the city beyond the palace rests in a hush. The stone walls around you hold the coolness of the night, and a faint fragrance of lotus drifts from a nearby vase. The quiet feels like a veil, soft and delicate, as you breathe in slowly and rise. The bed is wide and low, draped with linens woven in pale hues. Their folds are cool beneath your hands as you push them aside. Gold-threaded tassels dangle at the edges, swaying faintly when you move. The chamber feels vast, yet you are held by its stillness, as if the silence itself wraps around you. A servant slips into the room, silent as a shadow, carrying a bronze lamp. The flame quivers, brushing the air with a thin ribbon of smoke. She sets it gently on a small table carved with images of papyrus stalks, then lowers her eyes and withdraws. The light is enough to soften the darkness, though outside the sky is still deep blue. You step across the polished floor, your bare feet brushing against the smooth surface. The marble holds the memory of night's coolness, and your skin tingles slightly at its touch. Beyond the curtains, faint sounds begin to stir, the clatter of distant hooves, the whisper of water poured into basins, and the earliest cries of birds along the palace walls. A basin awaits near the window, filled with water drawn from the palace well. Its surface trembles when you dip your hands, and the chill spreads up your arms. You bring droplets to your face, feeling them trickle down your cheeks, clearing the haze of sleep. The water smells faintly of stone, cool and grounding. Beside the basin rests a small jar of oil, infused with rose. Its stopper is of carved ivory, smooth beneath your fingers as you lift it free. The fragrance rises warm and sweet, filling the chamber with a softness that lingers on your skin as you smooth the oil across your arms. Each motion feels unhurried, as if the day itself stretches slowly awake. From the balcony, the city of Alexandria lies hidden in shadow. The harbor sleeps under its veil of mist, ships swaying gently in the still water. Beyond, the faintest glow edges the horizon, promising day. You lean against the cool stone railing and breathe in the mingling scents of salt, wood, and distant hearth smoke. Your chambers are quiet, but the palace itself begins to stir. In distant corridors, footsteps echo in soft patterns, voices murmur low, and doors open to let in the pale air of morning. The rhythm is gentle, not hurried, a slow awakening, like a song rising note by note. You sit at a low table of cedar wood, polished smooth, its surface bearing small plates of figs and honey. The figs are dark and plump, their sweetness soft on your tongue, while the honey gleams golden in its dish. You taste slowly, each bite unhurried, as the day outside the palace leans closer to dawn. From outside, the hush of the sea grows louder, mingled with the creak of rigging and the call of sailors preparing their boats. The lighthouse on Pharos still burns, its flame a guardian in the last hour of night. The sound of gulls drifts through the air, their wings catching the first touch of morning light. Your thoughts move like the tide, slow, steady, and deep. You feel the weight of the day ahead, but also the calm of this beginning hour. The chamber grows warmer as the first rays of sun slip past the curtains, brushing against the floor, and the air seems to change, alive with light. Servants return with fresh garments folded neatly across their arms. Linen robes, pale and fine, wait for you, their fabric cool against your skin as they drape you in quiet dignity. A necklace of turquoise and gold rests beside them, shining softly in the lamp's glow. Each piece feels like a step into the day, a quiet preparation. Outside, the garden begins to stir. The first bees hum among the blossoms, the fountains release their steady streams, and the air carries the fragrance of mint and myrtle. The sound is soft, a background of living breath that blends with the sea's murmur. You pause, listening, as though the earth itself is greeting you. At last, the sun clears the horizon, lifting Alexandria from its slumber. The stone walls of the palace catch its glow, and the water of the harbour shines with golden ripples. You take a final slow breath of the cool morning air before turning inward, the day gently opening before you. And so, with calm steps, you move toward the waiting morning. The silence of night has lifted, but a softness lingers, carrying you forward with ease. The world of Alexandria is awake now, and you are part of its rhythm. You feel no haste, only the gentle beginning of a long, unhurried day. The first glow of day has touched the palace walls, and your chamber is bathed in a pale golden haze. The shadows are soft now, no longer deep and blue, but tender, as if the sun has laid a hand upon the stone. A breeze drifts through the curtains, cool and faintly scented with the sea. Servants enter with quiet steps, carrying slender jars of alabaster and polished bronze bowls. They set them down gently upon low stands, their movements graceful and deliberate. The sound of water pouring is steady and soothing, filling the stillness with a rhythm like a calm river. You approach the bath prepared for you, its surface shining with pale ripples. Fragrant herbs float on the water, leaves of mint, petals of rose, sprigs of thyme, set to soften the air and ease the body. As you step in, the coolness gives way to warmth, and the water embraces you slowly. The touch of water is gentle, lifting the weight of sleep from your limbs. A servant kneels at your side with a smooth clay jar, dipping her hand to draw a measure of scented oil. She spreads it across your shoulders, her motions unhurried, and the fragrance of lotus rises with the steam. You close your eyes and let the sounds settle around you. The trickle of water, the rustle of cloth, the faint cooing of doves in the rafters. Each note is low, calm and steady, like a quiet song beneath the day's beginning. Time feels suspended, stretched thin like silk. When the water has done its work, you step from the basin, and attendants wrap you in soft linen. The cloth is fresh and cool, woven fine enough that light filters through its folds. The fabric brushes against your skin with a whispering touch, a gentle reminder of the new day. A bronze mirror rests on a stand before you, polished to a glow. You lean toward it, and the light of morning catches your features. The reflection is softened by the bronze's warmth, not sharp, but gentle, as though it holds your face within a veil of light. On a low table, combs of ivory and bone wait, their teeth smooth from use. A servant begins to draw them through your dark hair, slow and careful, the strokes long and even. The strands fall into place with quiet rhythm, and the scent of perfumed oil lingers as it is brushed in. Beside the combs lie small vessels of pigment, ground fine and rich in color. A line of kohl darkens your eyes, drawn in delicate strokes, softening their brightness beneath the morning glow. The gesture is not hurried, but ceremonial, as if each touch ties you closer to the day ahead. Garments are chosen with care. The first layer is a gown of white linen, smooth and cool against your skin, its folds falling in clean lines. Over it, a mantle of soft blue is placed across your shoulders, held by a clasp of gold. The colors feel like morning itself, clear, bright, and calm. Jewels are set next, slender bracelets of gold shaped like lotus stems, earrings of turquoise that catch the light, and a necklace of small polished beads. None are heavy. They rest against you like adornments of the dawn, their shimmer quiet rather than loud. The air is alive now with fragrance. Incense of myrrh burns in a shallow dish, its smoke rising in threads that curl toward the ceiling. The scent is warm, earthy, and sweet, lingering in your breath, soothing and steadying you, as though preparing not only your body, but also your spirit. Servants bring sandals of leather, finely worked, their straps soft and pliant. They slip them onto your feet, fastening them with quiet hands. The floor beneath feels different now, no longer bare and cool marble, but cushioned, each step eased into the day. When all is ready, you rise fully clothed, wrapped in light and color, fragrance and sound. The attendants step back, lowering their heads, and the chamber seems to open before you. A new day has begun, and you are prepared to step into its unfolding rhythm. You pause once more at the open balcony. The city of Alexandria is awake now, the streets filling, the harbor stirring, the voices of people rising like a tide. Yet here, at this moment, you carry still the quiet freshness of your chamber, the calm that the first light has placed upon you. And with a final deep breath of sea air and incense, you turn inward, ready for the day's journey. The first light has touched you, and its calm remains within. The hours ahead will move with their own pace, but this morning's softness will linger like a thread of silk through all that follows. You leave the cool stillness of your chamber and walk slowly toward the gardens. The marble beneath your sandals is smooth, the halls long and open, their walls painted with soft colors of river and field. The air grows warmer as you near the open arches, and sunlight spills in like water. The garden spreads before you, wide and green, a calm oasis held within stone walls. Fountains sing gently, sending threads of water into shallow pools where lilies float. The sound of trickling water mingles with bird song, creating a low, peaceful chorus. Paths of pale stone guide your steps between rows of myrtle and jasmine. Their blossoms release fragrance into the air, sweet yet not heavy, carried lightly on the morning breeze. Bees drift lazily among the flowers, their hum soft and steady, like the heartbeat of the garden. You pause beside a fountain where carved lions pour water from their mouths. The spray catches the sun and glitters in small arcs before falling into the pool. Koi swim beneath the ripples, their colors muted by the shifting light. The water's cool scent rises faintly as you lean closer. a servant brings a small stool of cedar, placing it near a shaded arbor. You sit beneath the vine-draped roof, where the air is cooler and speckled with shifting patterns of green. Grapevines twist above you, heavy with leaves, their tendrils curling in playful spirals. From here, you can see the wide garden stretching outward. Palms rise tall in the distance, their fronds swaying gently, while closer to you, rose bushes open their blooms to the sun. The scent mingles, sharp from the palm's resin, soft from the roses, sweet from the jasmine, and the air feels alive. Birds dart from tree to tree, flashes of color between branches. A hoopoe lands on the edge of a fountain, its crest lifting as it dips its beak into the water. Doves coo from the rooftops nearby, their notes low and rhythmic, carrying calm through the garden. You take a small plate from a servant's tray, dates, figs, and almonds, set neatly in rows. Their sweetness balances the cool air, each bite grounding you in the present moment. You eat slowly, your gaze wandering over the calm expanse of green. Children of the palace staff play at a distance, their laughter soft, like bells carried on the breeze. They run between the trees, their white linen tunics fluttering as they weave in and out of shadows. Their joy is quiet, never breaking the stillness, but adding to its warmth. Near the arbor, scribes sit with papyrus scrolls, their reed pens moving carefully across the surface. Their work is steady, the scratching sound faint, blending with the hum of the bees and the trickle of water. They glance up now and then, waiting for your notice, but remain absorbed in their rhythm. You rise and walk further into the garden, your sandals brushing across the stone path. The trees lean over the walkway, their branches weaving together into gentle arches. Shafts of sunlight filter through, illuminating the dust that hangs in the air, golden and slow-moving. At the heart of the garden stands a reflecting pool, its water perfectly still. Cypress trees frame its edges, their shapes tall and quiet, mirrored in the surface below. When you kneel at the edge, the pool offers your reflection beside the skies, as though earth and heaven are joined in water. Beside the pool, a servant brings a small harp, its strings gleaming pale in the sun. She plays softly, the notes slow and clear, falling into the still water like drops of silver. The music joins the air, filling the garden with a lull that makes the hours feel unmeasured. You close your eyes, letting the music, the fragrance, and the warmth surround you. The breeze touches your face, carrying both the salt of the sea and the sweetness of roses. In this stillness, time stretches and softens like the surface of the pool, unbroken by wind. As the hour passes, the sunlight grows stronger, and the shade shifts with it. The scribes set down their pens, servants gather the trays, and the children are led back toward the halls. The garden remains calm, but it holds the memory of its brief chorus of voices and song. You rise once more, your garments moving gently with your step, and walk toward the palace doors. Behind you, the fountains continue their song, and the fragrance of flowers lingers in the air. The garden remains, timeless and patient, even as you return to the day's next moment. And as you cross the threshold into the cool corridors, the quiet of the garden follows you, like a soft echo carried in your breath. Whatever the day brings, the memory of its calm will stay, flowing beneath each hour like the water of the fountains still singing in the sun. The corridors grow cooler as you step away from the garden. The walls are tall and painted with scenes of Nile reeds and lotus blossoms, their colors softened by time. Servants move ahead of you, opening carved doors that lead to the council chamber. Inside, the chamber is wide and shaded, its roof supported by tall stone columns painted with bands of blue and green. Light enters through narrow slits high above, falling in pale shafts that shift as dust dances within them. The air is still, yet alive, with quiet expectancy. At the center stands a long table of cedar, polished smooth, its surface marked by the scent of resin. Papyrus scrolls rest neatly in rows, their ties of red and gold thread glinting softly in the dim light. Reed pens and small jars of ink wait beside them. Counselors arrive one by one, their linen robes trailing softly across the floor. They bow low, their voices quiet as they greet you, then take their places along the table. The air fills with a low murmur, steady and respectful, like the sea lapping against stone. A scribe unrolls the first scroll, its papyrus smooth, the ink dark and even. He begins to read, his voice calm, the cadence unhurried, each word drifting like the steady beat of a drum. The chamber listens, the silence between phrases deep and complete. Reports are given of grain from the fields along the Nile, of ships arriving at the harbor, of goods carried from distant lands. Each detail is offered with care, not rushed, but placed into the air like a stone into water, rippling outward. You sit in quiet dignity, listening as one voice yields to another. The rhythm is gentle, the concerns practical, woven of earth and river and trade. The chamber becomes not a place of debate, but of balance, each word part of a careful design. When counsel is sought, you answer slowly, your voice calm and measured. The counselors lean closer, their eyes attentive, their heads nodding with each phrase. Your words settle over the chamber like a cloth, smoothing the air into stillness. The scribes move steadily, their pens scratching across papyrus. The sound is faint, a soft rustle beneath the voices, marking each decision, each note of counsel. Their scrolls fill with careful lines that will rest in the archives, carrying today's rhythm into tomorrow. A servant pours water into small bronze cups, passing them quietly along the table. The water is cool, drawn fresh, with a faint taste of stone and earth. You sip slowly, the simple act grounding you in the chamber's stillness. Next come reports of foreign envoys, their gifts and letters waiting to be seen. Small chests are opened, revealing ivory, spices, and folded cloth of unfamiliar weave. Each item is placed upon the table in silence, the chamber regarding them with calm attention. The air shifts with the fragrance of cinnamon, cardamom, and cedar as the gifts are unwrapped. For a moment, the chamber feels touched by distant lands, their voices carried in scents and textures instead of words. Then the lids are closed, and the stillness returns. Your gaze moves toward the open doors where the sound of the garden still drifts faintly. Birds call, fountains sing, and the day beyond the chamber continues its slow unfolding. Here, inside, the weight of governance is softened by that distant song. The session continues with matters of law, the voices even and respectful. Each question is posed with care, each answer measured, as though the chamber itself demands gentleness. There is no haste, only the gradual weaving of thought into decision. At last, the final scroll is tied and set aside. The counselors bow again, their robes sweeping softly as they rise. They depart in silence, their footsteps fading into the corridors, leaving only the scent of ink and parchment behind. The scribes gather their work, stacking the scrolls carefully into wooden chests lined with linen. The sound of papyrus sliding into place is soft, like the rustle of reeds in a breeze. They bow as they carry them away, their task complete. You stand slowly, your garments shifting around you in folds of white and blue. The chamber is quiet now, emptied of voices, filled only with the faint echo of what has passed. You breathe deeply, the air cool against your skin, and step once more toward the light. Crossing back into the corridor, the sound of fountains greets you again. The palace feels alive, filled with movement and voices, yet the calm of the chamber still lingers within you. The matters of the court are done, their rhythm complete, and the day opens to its next hour. And so, with quiet steps, you move onward, carrying the balance of governance with you. The chamber has closed its doors, but its steady rhythm remains within, soft as the echo of a drum fading into silence. You step into the brightness of midday, where the palace courtyard opens wide toward the harbor. The air is warmer now, touched with salt from the sea and dust from the streets. Attendants walk beside you, their pace measured, carrying small chests and baskets for the journey. At the quay, a royal barge waits. Its hull is painted in deep hues of red and green, its deck shaded by linen awnings that ripple gently in the breeze. Golden lotus designs gleam along its sides, catching the light like small flames. You board slowly, sandals brushing across polished planks of cedar. Cushions are laid out beneath the awnings, bright with woven patterns of blue and ochre. The river air rises cool around you, carrying the mingled scents of water, wood, and reeds. The oarsmen take their places, their bodies strong yet unhurried, and dip their oars into the water with steady rhythm. The barge glides away from the quay, leaving the harbor behind, and the Nile opens before you like a wide ribbon of silver. The river moves gently, its surface broken only by the curve of a fish or the ripple of current around a rock. Reeds line the banks in thick clusters, their tips swaying and whispering with each breath of wind. White egrets step carefully between them, their long legs barely stirring the water. A fisherman's boat drifts nearby, its hull small and rough beside your barge. Nets hang drying along its edge, and inside, baskets of tilapia gleam in the sun. The fisherman raises his hand in greeting, his smile broad, his gesture simple. The sound of oars and water fills the air, steady and low. Above, the sun warms the river, making its surface shimmer like beaten bronze. A breeze carries the cry of distant birds and the faint rustle of palms bending at the shore. Servants bring trays of cool fruit, pale melon, figs, and grapes nestled on leaves. You take one grape between your fingers, its skin cool, the sweetness bursting gently as you bite. The flavor mingles with the freshness of the river, grounding you in the moment. A harpist seated at the stern plucks slow, delicate notes that drift across the water. The sound blends with the rhythm of the oars, weaving music and movement into a single calm pattern. Each note lingers, fading into the air like ripples fading into still water. The river widens as you move further inland. Papyrus thickets rise taller, their crowns fanning out like green umbrellas. Insects hum faintly among them, their chorus constant yet soft, part of the very fabric of the river's breath. Children wade along the bank, their laughter rising as they splash each other with handfuls of river water. Their voices are clear and bright, carried across the still air. You watch them for a moment, their joy unbroken, as steady as the Nile itself. A herdsman leads cattle down a slope to drink, their hooves stirring the muddy shore. The animals move slowly, their bodies broad, their horns curved like crescent moons. Their presence adds to the river's rhythm, another part of its daily cycle. The oarsmen rest, and the barge drifts quietly with the current. The water carries you onward without effort, its strength hidden but sure. The world narrows to sound and scent, the slap of water against the hull, the smell of reeds, the distant call of gulls. You lean against the cushions and look upward. The sky is wide and pale, a canvas without cloud, stretching endlessly above the river. A single hawk circles slowly, its wings glinting as it turns in the sunlight. The barge slows as it nears a small island, green with palms and shaded groves. The oarsmen guide it gently to shore, and attendants lower a ramp. You step onto the island's soil, soft with grass, and breathe in the mingled fragrance of earth and water. You walk a short path lined with sycamores, their shade cool beneath the midday sun. Birds scatter ahead of you, their wings flashing white as they rise. The sound of water remains close, always murmuring, always steady. A small shrine rests at the island's center, simple yet dignified, its stone worn smooth by time. Incense smoke curls faintly from a shallow dish before it, carrying fragrance of resin and herbs. You pause here in silence, listening to the stillness that feels older than memory. When you return to the barge, the oarsmen are ready once more. The boat pushes gently away from the island, and the Nile embraces it again, carrying you slowly back toward Alexandria. The day feels long but unhurried, stretched wide across the shining water. The city's outline appears in the distance, walls, towers, and the lighthouse rising above the sea. The river carries you closer, its current sure, and the air thickens with the scent of hearths and smoke. The quiet of the Nile begins to fold into the rhythm of the city once more. And as the barge draws near the quay, you feel the calm of the river still within you. Its rhythm lingers, a steady thread of water and wind, carrying you forward into the hours yet to come. The barge carries you past the harbor and upriver toward the great temple. Its pylons rise tall above the palms, their stone faces carved with figures of gods and pharaohs. The air grows hushed as the oarsmen steer closer, and the sound of water echoes softly against the stone steps leading to the temple gate. Attendants help you step onto the stone landing, where incense already drifts from bronze braziers. The fragrance is warm and thick, wrapping around you like a shawl. Palm fronds sway faintly overhead, and the temple's vast doorway waits in stillness. You walk slowly up the steps, the stone warm beneath your sandals. Priests wait in white linen robes, their heads bowed, their hands carrying small censers that release curling smoke. Their voices are low, chanting a steady hymn that lingers like the rhythm of a heartbeat. Inside, The air is cooler, shaded from the bright sun. Tall columns rise like trees, their surfaces painted in bands of green and red, their capitals shaped as blooming papyrus. Light filters in through high slits, falling in shafts that illuminate dust like floating gold. The priests lead you toward the inner court, where a great statue rests in shadow. Its face is calm and timeless, its gaze fixed beyond the chamber walls. Before it, a small fire burns, its flame steady, though the air is still. You kneel as attendants bring trays of offerings, bowls of figs, loaves of bread, jars of wine, and garlands of lotus. Each is placed carefully upon a stone altar, their colors vivid in the dimness. The fragrance of flowers mingles with the sweetness of fruit and grain. A priest raises his hands and scatters grains of incense onto the fire. The smoke rises in spirals, slow and deliberate, curling upward toward the shadowed ceiling. The fragrance deepens, thick with myrrh and frankincense, filling the chamber with a sacred calm. The chanting grows stronger, a low chorus of voices blending in unison. Their words are ancient, yet the sound is timeless, resonant in the stone chamber. The rhythm settles into you, steady and unbroken, like the river's own flow made into voice. Musicians enter quietly, harpists and flutists adding their tones to the chant. The music weaves through the air, lifting and softening the voices, as though the temple itself breathes in harmony. Each note lingers, echoing faintly against the stone. A priest approaches with a vessel of sacred oil, golden and clear. He anoints your brow and hands, his touch light and unhurried, the oil warm against your skin. The scent is delicate, lingering, as though marking you with the presence of the divine. You rise slowly as the ritual continues, the fire glowing steady, the smoke still curling skyward. The statue looms above, its silence heavy yet reassuring, its gaze a reminder of continuity and order. The air feels layered, full of voices, fragrance, and light. Outside the chamber, a courtyard opens to the sky. Pools of water reflect the bright sun, their surfaces broken by the touch of birds landing to drink. Palms sway gently around the edges, their shadows long against the stone. Priests lead a procession along the courtyard, carrying sacred objects draped in silk. Their steps are slow, deliberate, their chant now softer, echoing across the open space. The air is filled with a reverent hush, broken only by the rustle of fabric and the steady rhythm of feet. You follow at a gentle pace, your garments brushing softly against the ground. The sun warms your shoulders, and the fragrance of incense clings to your hair and hands. Each step feels connected to the thousands before, part of a timeless pattern. At the courtyard's far side, another shrine awaits, smaller and open to the sky. A priest sets a vessel of milk upon its stone surface. Another lays fresh flowers, their petals vivid in the light. Offerings to the gods of sky and earth rest here, simple and pure. The hymn ends slowly, voices falling one by one until only silence remains. The last note lingers, fading into the breeze, as though carried upward into the blue expanse above. The stillness that follows is deep, wide, and unbroken. You remain for a time in that silence, letting it surround you. The incense smoke rises faintly, the pools shimmer, the palms murmur softly in the wind. It is a moment without weight, a pause where time feels suspended. When at last you leave the temple, the sunlight is lower, softened with the approach of evening. The river glows golden as the barge waits once more at the landing. The chants and fragrance remain within you, carried like threads of music into the hours ahead. And as you step aboard, the water carries you gently back toward the city. The temple falls behind, its pylons tall and serene, while the calm of its rituals remains with you, steady as breath, quiet as flame. The barge glides once more into the harbor, and the palace rises tall against the softening sun. You step onto the stone quay, the air warm but no longer sharp, softened by the hour. Servants guide you back through shaded corridors, their footsteps quiet and even. Within the palace, the air is cool again. Incense lingers faintly in the hallways, mingling with the scent of polished cedar and fresh linen. The bustle of the city feels distant, softened by walls that hold the calm of the afternoon. A chamber awaits, arranged for rest. Low couches are spread with woven cloths, their colors soft in shades of blue and cream. Cushions are piled at either end, inviting stillness. A bronze brazier glows faintly in one corner, more for fragrance than for heat. You recline among the cushions, the fabric cool against your skin. A servant brings a scroll, its papyrus tied with ribbon, and places it gently in your hands. The knot loosens easily, and the scroll unfurls with a soft whisper, revealing lines of careful script. The words are verses, a poem of the river and the harvest, written in flowing lines. You read slowly, your eyes moving unhurriedly across the ink. The rhythm of the lines echoes the rhythm of the Nile, steady, calm, eternal. A musician enters softly, carrying a small lute. She seats herself on a stool and plucks at the strings, letting the sound drift into the chamber. The notes are delicate, like drops of water falling into a still pool, each one spreading in gentle ripples. Another servant brings a small tray of figs and honey, along with cool water in a bronze cup. You taste slowly, savoring the sweetness of the fruit and the smoothness of honey on your tongue. Each sip of water clears the taste, leaving freshness behind. A cat enters quietly, slipping between the curtains as though carried by the breeze. It leaps softly onto the couch, curling at your side with a low purr. Its warmth spreads gently against you, its presence steady, unhurried and calm. You set aside the scroll and rest your head against the cushions, listening to the music and the steady hum of the cat. The chamber seems to breathe with you, its silence layered with sound, soft strings, quiet purring, distant footfalls in the corridor. Through a high window, light slants in golden rays, dust drifting lazily within it. The beams fall across the floor, painting patterns that stretch and fade as the sun lowers. The day seems to slow with them, its hours lengthening like the shadows. An attendant brings a basket of papyrus leaves and places it on the low table. You take one and fold it gently, shaping it into a small fan. The act is simple, yet it calms the hands, turning the leaf into something both useful and delicate. The fan stirs the air lightly, carrying the fragrance of incense toward you. It blends with the sweetness of figs still on your lips and the coolness of water within your breath. The chamber feels balanced, a harmony of taste, scent, and sound. The musician sets aside her lute and takes up a flute. The first note is soft, almost hidden. Then another follows, clearer, rising gently through the chamber. The sound is like a bird at dusk, calling slowly across the stillness. You rise briefly and move to the balcony, the cat padding behind you. Alexandria spreads wide, bathed in the warm glow of late afternoon. Rooftops shine with sun, and sails shift in the harbour, glowing like pale wings. Returning to the couch, you lie back once more. The cat curls again at your side, and the cushions cradle you. Your eyes drift closed for a moment, the music carrying you gently, the afternoon leaning toward stillness. Time stretches, unbroken by urgency. The servants move quietly, adjusting lamps and placing fresh linen upon the table. Their steps are soft, respectful of the calm, blending into the rhythm of the chamber. The afternoon wanes, its light shifting slowly toward amber. Shadows lengthen across the walls, and the musician's final notes fade. You sit in silence for a long breath, carrying the music within you, as steady as your own heartbeat. And so you rise, refreshed, your steps calm, the cat slipping once more through the curtains. The chamber falls quiet behind you, holding its stillness, like a memory, as you move toward the evening hours of the day. Twilight settles over the palace like a soft shawl, and the first lamps are lit along the corridors. Their flames glow steady behind thin screens, casting warm patterns onto the stone. The air carries a sweetness of myrrh and wine, inviting the evening to begin. You enter the banquet hall by a side door where the light deepens to gold. Low couches are arranged around polished tables of cedar, their surfaces gleaming like calm water. Fresh rushes line the floor, and the scent of green stems rises as you walk. Attendants move like quiet streams, carrying bowls, cups, and baskets draped with linen. They murmur to one another in soft voices, guiding the evening with careful rhythm. The room's hush feels welcoming, as though it waits to be filled without ever breaking its calm. Guests arrive in small groups, their robes pale and flowing, their greetings low and unhurried. They bend their heads to you with gentle smiles before taking their places. The hall becomes a garden of voices, each one soft as a leaf in evening air. At the center, a musician lifts a lyre of polished wood and gilded strings. The first notes are tender and close, almost a whisper, then widen like ripples across a pool. The melody holds the hall together, a thread of sound tying each breath to the next. Servants bring ewers of wine, mixing it gently with cool water in glazed bowls. The stream falls in a thin arc, the two mingling until their colors become one. Cups are filled and set upon the tables, their rims catching the flicker of flame. You sip slowly, the taste light and clear, with a sweetness that lingers at the edge of the tongue. The cup's metal is cool against your lips, and the fragrance of the wine rises with each breath. Time seems to open like a flower, petal by petal, under the evening light. The tables fill with simple dishes, each arranged with care. There are olives glistening in oil, honeyed dates, fresh goat cheese, and small loaves still warm from the oven. The generous simplicity of the food steadies the room in ease. A storyteller recites a tale of the Nile's first flood, his tone measured and low. The story is not urgent. It moves like water around stones, pausing at each bend to show a reed, a bird, a rising moon. Guests listen with still faces, the sound threading through quiet smiles. Two dancers enter with soft steps, garments light as mist. Their movement is slow and graceful, like palm fronds shifting in a gentle wind. Anklets chime faintly, then fall quiet, the silence after each note as soothing as the note itself. More dishes arrive in unhurried sequence, roasted vegetables kissed with herbs, folded leaves holding grains, slices of melon chilled in shallow bowls. Each plate is placed as if it were an offering to peace itself. The evening grows deeper and kinder with every taste. A poet recites a few gentle lines, then falls silent so the harp may speak. The harpist answers with a short hymn, slow as the rise of the moon over river water. In the corner, a flute joins for a moment, adding a thin silver thread, then rests. You lift a slice of pomegranate to your lips, seeds bright as small rubies. They burst with a quiet sparkle, leaving sweetness and a hint of tart that clears the mouth. The taste feels like a tidy blessing, brief and complete. Conversation turns to the sea breeze, the harvest, and the color of tonight's sky. Words come and go lightly, never pressing, resting like birds on a warm stone. Laughter arrives in soft waves and retreats, leaving the calm unbroken. An attendant offers a small cone of perfumed unguent, placing it gently atop each guest's hair. The fragrance warms with the skin and releases slowly into the air. Lotus, myrrh, and a hint of cedar. The room becomes a garden of scent floating on music. From the far end of the hall, shutters are opened to the courtyard. Evening air drifts in, carrying the sound of a fountain, counting time in clear drops. Lamps sway a little in the breeze and steady themselves again. Dessert is simple. Honey cakes dusted with crushed nuts, figs steeped in diluted wine, and a bowl of cool grapes. You taste the honey cake last. It melts gently, leaving a soft sweetness that eases the tongue. The hall seems to exhale as if satisfied. The dancers return once more, moving even more slowly than before. Their hands trace shapes like reeds bending and rising, and the lyre matches their quiet arcs. The moment is so calm that a single bell from an anklet sounds like a star appearing. When the music finishes, silence rises softly in its place. Guests rest with eyes half closed, as if listening to the echo of something gentle and kind. The lamps seem to lean closer, sharing their small, patient flames. One by one, guests offer farewells with slight bows and warm glances. No one hurries. Each parting is a small drift, a leaf lifted by a mild wind. The hall grows spacious again, as if it has taken a long, contented breath. Attendants gather the cups and fold the linens, their work a soft choreography. The rushes on the floor release a last green scent as feet cross them. A final bowl of water is carried away, surface unbroken, reflecting one small flame. You step toward the open shutters and look into the courtyard. The fountain keeps its simple measure, and the sky shows the first delicate stars. Night rests on the city like a calm hand, steady and cool. Turning back to the quiet hall, you breathe in the last traces of myrrh and warm bread. The couches stand in thoughtful order, as if holding the memory of voices and strings. Evening has completed its circle and left a soft trail behind. And so you leave the lamplight for the hush of the corridor. The feast lingers within you as a gentle warmth, a calm fullness that does not ask for more. The night opens ahead, wide and kind, ready to receive your rest. The palace corridors are quiet now, their lamps glowing faintly in niches along the walls. The air is cool and still, holding the faintest trace of incense from the banquet. Your sandals brush softly against the floor as you return to your private chambers. The chamber awaits in calm silence. Curtains are drawn wide to welcome the night air, and the scent of the garden drifts inside. Jasmine, myrtle, and the damp freshness of fountains. A small oil lamp flickers beside the bed, its flame rising and falling as if breathing. You step onto the balcony before resting, drawn by the stillness outside. Alexandria lies below, bathed in silver light. The streets are calm, and the harbour shimmers with reflections of the moon, its water stirred only by the slow shift of anchored ships. The lighthouse burns steadily on the horizon, its fire a distant star guiding the dark. Its glow casts a faint path over the waves, a thread connecting sea and sky. The sight brings a sense of quiet watchfulness, like a guardian standing through the night. You lean against the stone railing, the cool surface grounding you. The night air brushes your skin, carrying the salt of the sea and the faint smoke of hearths far below. It is the same air that touches fields, villages, and river banks, uniting all in one steady breath. Above, the stars emerge in gentle clusters, each one bright yet calm. They seem endless, scattered like jewels across velvet, their silence deep and unbroken. You trace familiar patterns with your eyes, their shapes timeless, carried from one age to the next. Returning inside, you sit at a cedar table where a scroll and lamp wait. The scroll holds notes of the day, lists, verses, names of places and people. You read slowly, not to remember, but to allow the lines to fade gently into completion. Beside the scroll rests a small box of polished wood. Inside are simple tokens, a bead of lapis, a carved figure of a lotus, a fragment of papyrus from years past. You lift each one for a moment, feeling the weight of memory, then set it back in place. The chamber grows quieter as the oil lamp burns lower, its flame shrinking to a steady glow. The cat from earlier returns, slipping silently through the curtains. It leaps lightly onto the bed and curls into a patient coil of warmth. You recline upon the low bed, the linen cool and smooth beneath you. The cat's purr hums softly, blending with the faint murmur of fountains beyond the balcony. Each sound is low, steady, and unhurried, guiding you toward rest. Your gaze drifts once more to the balcony, where the moon hangs above the garden. The light silver washes the leaves, turning the fountain's spray into falling beads of glass. The garden seems to sleep, yet its breath is steady, carrying calm into your chamber. Servants enter briefly, placing a fresh jar of water beside the bed and lowering the lamp's flame. Their steps are soundless, their gestures reverent. With a bow, they leave the chamber as silently as they came. You sip from the jar, the water cool and grounding, a final taste of the earth before sleep. Its clarity settles within you, washing away the last traces of the day. You set it aside, content, and sink further into stillness. Your thoughts move like the river, slow, wide, and deep. Faces, voices, gardens, and music drift through, but they do not cling. Each fades like ripples, leaving behind only calm surface, ready to receive dreams. The cat stretches and resettles, its body warm against you, its purr steady as breath. Beyond the balcony, a night bird calls once, then falls quiet. The silence is not empty, but full, like a soft blanket wrapped close. You close your eyes as the lamp finally dims to nothing. The moon's light alone fills the chamber, pale and kind, covering each surface in silver. The city rests, the river flows, the sea breathes, all continuing in their gentle rhythm. And so the day ends in calm, its hours folded neatly into night. You drift upon its softness, carried into dreams, as Egypt itself rests, vast and timeless, beneath the steady gaze of stars.